McKiernan Restoration had an open day last Saturday, and I went along to have a look at their Porsches and other vehicles. I met Brad about a year ago. I'm in the courtyard here looking at some of the cars that were on display outside. There was coffee and breakfast to be had in stalls. I moved along inside, had a look at one of the completed vehicles. These are beautiful cars. You can see this metalwork is very, very impressive. This is pressed out on the buck, which we will have a look at a little bit later on. Moulding in the way that this metal has been beaten into shape is just really, really wonderful, really beautiful. And the engines that are put together that will go into these vehicles. As you can see, this one is almost complete. The engine is in place now. This is the 550 Spider. Carbon fiber bodies. We'll have a look at the molds for these bucket seats a little bit later on. Motorcycles. I love this bit of fairing here. And I really like that petrol pump. The Texaco petrol pump. Ducatis. Quite like this one. I love the colour actually. Layers and layers of carbon fibre here. Beautifully done. This one is complete. A few bits and bobs on the inside there that probably didn't need to be there, but still. And here's one in the process of being put together and built. Metal is being shaped. Some panels on the floor on the inside look as though they belong to doors. BMWs, of course, BMW Motors, and it is a restoration workshop. This is the buck. Now, this is the evolution of coach building professionals can be traced back to the days of hand building bodies for horse-drawn carriages. With the invention of the automobile at the turn of the century, coach builders then turned their skills to the automotive industry. The economic advantages of an assembly line model with a mass-manufactured body already attached. European coach builders continued after World War II to produce their bodies one at a time, using the age-old method of hammering out metal panels onto timber stumps, sandbags and wooden bucks. As you can see, quite a bit of work still to be done on this. Only partially finished. Some of the templates in the back end. Isn't this a beautiful piece of work? Cadillac. Almost fully restored. And of course the paint booth. Another piece of production being put together. Paint housings. Comfortable workspace. A lot of work yet to be done to this one. We're back at that buck. This is the 550 Spider model. They were hand built, and for the Wendler coach makers to maintain a consistent shape in the production of the race car, they created wooden bucks to ensure each aluminium panel they handcrafted fitted exactly onto the tubular steel chassis. They would work skillfully, work the aluminium and fit it to the buck until the perfect curve synonymous to the Spider were put together. And the original Spider 550 buck still exists at the Command Porsche Auto Museum in Austria. This was built from photographs by Brad McKiernan. Incredible piece of work, actually.
Nah, not really that you know. There's like not much. So that's like an insane amount of shrinking to get all of that to go up and come over here, and that's. So I just run into that with a small flux box or a big flux box. So either way, it's going to stretch metal. Yeah, so that'll get you. Yeah, quicker. It's just going I'm still learning, but it's about so you're yeah, so it's a D2 or S7 flat piece. Yeah, so that started out. So it's the easiest way out of that. Yeah, that's straight off the hammer.
How do you get that? Because the base piece looks like it sticks out too far. You're going to run into it.
So you come in as far as you can there. And then that's so made like a little buck there. And also when you pull them out of the shape. So now we can get in
A good cheek.
So you get strong knees. So it's what have you got to do?
One piece.
So that's gathered. And it's the easiest way to describe it's kind of like dressmaking and that sort of thing. Like, so you're shrinking that metal. So it's essentially like if you were to put a dart in, so you cut a piece and overlap, you've got to gather the metal. Or if it's going the other way where like a 550 up over the border, so it's got to stretch, so you know you've got to, on your paper pattern, you cut it and they open up. And instead of cutting it, you're shrinking the metal itself on itself. So that's how these guys work. One of those probably about 15 minutes on that, with the power hammer. Whereas if you literally couldn't get that much shrink by hand, and that would be done with a steel mallet, a sandbag or yeah. Yeah, and a timber bowl and strap a tree stump, yeah. But you'd be swinging your arm all day, you wouldn't even, like you would probably, if you were just trying to gather, you could probably gather to about here, you could get that much strength, but to move that much, you just fight it.
And is there things that the English wheel will do?
Nah, not at all. So the English wheel can literally only stretch.
Oh,
And that's it at all. Whereas I've got 6 and you can start to, because it work hard and when it's shrinking, and you can start to get cracks that appear coming through here. But yeah, so they're longer. I've made them longer. Yeah, you can. Yeah. So every now and again you can pull it out, hit the tops in, and nail it, soften it back up. And, yeah. So you do that.
Some of the moulds. We'll head on upstairs and we'll have a look at some of those in a moment. Going up the stairs, you get a better perspective of the layout of the workshop. The enormous paint booth. Some of the moulds and the templates.
I remember Gary doing these.
My cousin Gary's a pattern maker and he often makes patterns for various items, for Brad and for others, for foundries and the like. So a lot of the people visiting here today will be from foundries. These are the moulds now that are used to mould fiberglass. That's the mould for the bucket seats. All these cars at various stages of build. Only the one with the numbers on it is complete, all the rest are at various stages of build. Go down and listen to the engineer in a moment as he talks about one of the vehicles that he's working on, the chassis and the like.
So happy with how everything's turned out. I mean, this is the final machining quality we ended up getting on there. Oh yeah. So that's properly finished.
Finish it, Mario. We're going to get
taking that sort of thing and gone, well, that's nice. That's a lot nicer. So we're going to do that. 200 mil. And they have some fuel tanks.
I was going to say you're putting your bagging and then putting the fuel tanks in the same.
Yep, the same as the original one. Yep. The fuel tanks are housed in these tubes.
Yeah, it's quite a crazy chassis design.
It's very
big
pontoons. No, so the original ones were magnesium sheet riveted together in the tube. Those will just be, that's just I think by the aluminium tube, 203 millimeter tube.
Thanks.
That's another industrial use. Yes, no, something. I can't remember what it is, but it's a readily available tube size and it's very similar. So we're just going to be using something like that.
And they're an extruded.
It's a seam welded tube. So. Yeah, so there's hopefully at the end of the day, if everything goes right. So we're solving all the issues before they actually make anything, which was going to solve them a lot of time and a lot of effort in the long run if they're going to make more cars. Hopefully, if everything goes right, we should be able to order a chassis and have the chassis rock up on a pallet. So instead of having to cut every tube individually and make it fit, that doesn't fit, move that one, put this in, that doesn't fit, we should in theory with this, once we've solved all the problems, we've had the body 3D scanned, so we can open the back lid to make sure it moves the gearbox. All that sort of stuff you don't really think about. Like, you know, at the moment we have to remake this structure. So this is like a crash structure in the Ferrari, and this is the exhaust mount. It does have an oil gallery in it, which is a little bit annoying, but because there's nothing in here, it's just space. But at the moment, that will collect the body. So to get this to fit at the moment, we would have to notch the body. You would know that until you put that in there. You finish that, put that in there, and then go, oh shit, now we're going to have to do something to fix it. So we've had that scanned, we've put it all together, I've got a model of it in there. Yeah, we flip the lid and go, oh, it's going to crash. So now we have to remake that. So make it flat on the back, get rid of the crash structure, problem solved. And then yeah, exactly. You don't have to make it, you know, 10 mil thick, because it's only a passage oil gallery to go from these 2 points here to join those two. So yeah, so for the so that's actually because that's the engine oil. So the engine oil coolers in the valley. So these are outlets for the engine oil. So once we've got all this design, we'll just send it to a tube, like a laser cutting place that does tube.
So that engine's got.
Understanding with the grind tube fit. Grind tube fit.
That's right, yeah.
I cut it 3 times and it's still too short.
It's getting closer every day. So yeah. It's never come across a car where you look at it from every angle and go, that is gorgeous.
It always bubbles up on the top of every list of best looking car ever made. And what do they make?
Literally every 18.
18, is it? Yeah.
So literally everyone.
33s all up, or 80
Stradales. Yeah. So there's plenty of 33s around. Like, there's still racing 33s and all that.
Well, they evolved.
That's right. Yeah.
They look different.
Yeah.
They couldn't sell them at the time. They were too expensive.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, yeah, they were like, 2,500, 3,000. And there was a car that always used to beat them.
That's right. Yeah. That's the problem. Yeah.
I would love to do a time lapse of one of the constructions of one of these vehicles. In fact, several of them at the same time, because they work in metal, carbon fibre and fiberglass. So I'd love to do time lapse. I mean a proper time lapse, not a sped up film, but a proper time lapse of a construction right from the beginning to the end. I'll have to speak to Brad and see if we can do something in the near future. We're back at the Spider with the bonnet open. And the motor's in the rear. Beautifully put together engine. Taking this one home?
Just looking to see how they do they don't do it in a single sheet.
No.
They do it in strips,
Yeah.
like I do the fiberglass.
Yeah, I saw that. I was looking at that myself actually. So looking at all the joints,
Piece by piece by
piece by piece. Yeah.
You can't. I say you can't do. You can do in big sheets. It depends on the mold.
Yeah. They do really good work, don't they? Absolutely incredible. Yeah, quite a few pieces just for this.
You've been up there?
Yeah. And that's it for this year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments, and I'll do more of these. Thank you.